Flying is a common experience for millions of people around the world, but few realize the complexity and hidden secrets behind each flight. Beyond the simple takeoff and landing, there is a world of technical details, safety procedures, and service strategies that are rarely revealed to passengers. In this video, we will uncover 10 of the most interesting and lesser-known secrets about commercial flights, offering you a new and more informed perspective on what really happens when you are on board an airplane. From the workings of onboard systems to the training of flight attendants, you will discover information that will make you appreciate even more the next time you board an aircraft. Number 10, the cabin air is not just recycled. When you are on an airplane, the air you breathe is a mix of outside air and recycled air. The outside air is taken from the atmosphere at about 10,000 meters altitude, where it is extremely cold and thin. This air is compressed, heated, and filtered before being introduced into the cabin. Meanwhile, the air already present inside the cabin passes through HEPA filters, similar to those used in hospitals, which remove microscopic particles, including bacteria and viruses. This process ensures that the cabin air is cleaner than that found in most indoor spaces on the ground. Additionally, the cabin air is completely refreshed every 2-3 minutes, meaning it does not remain stagnant for long periods. However, the low humidity, usually around 20%, can cause dryness to the skin and mucous membranes, making the environment less comfortable. This is one of the reasons why it is advised to stay hydrated during the flight. Number 9, the noise under the seat. During the flight, you might hear unusual noises coming from under the seat or from the sides of the aircraft. These sounds are often caused by fuel pumps transferring fuel between tanks located in the wings or fuselage of the plane. Fuel distribution is an ongoing process that helps maintain the aircraft's balance, especially during takeoff and landing when weight distribution is crucial. These noises can range from a constant hum to a more metallic sound, but they are all normal and indicate that the aircraft's systems are functioning correctly. The pilots continuously monitor these systems to ensure everything is in order. Number 8, oxygen masks. The oxygen masks on board an airplane are a critical safety feature in emergencies involving a loss of cabin pressure. These masks are designed to provide supplemental oxygen when the cabin environment is no longer adequate due to a malfunction in the pressurization system. In the event of sudden decompression, when the cabin pressure drops drastically, oxygen masks automatically drop from compartments above the seats. Each passenger must put on their mask covering their nose and mouth and secure it with the elastic strap behind their head. Once in place, oxygen starts to flow through a chemical generation system, which produces oxygen through a chemical reaction within the mask. The oxygen masks are designed to provide oxygen for a limited time, usually between 12 and 15 minutes, sufficient to allow the aircraft to descend to a safer altitude where the air is breathable again. This time is calculated to cover the duration needed for the plane to descend to an altitude where atmospheric pressure is sufficient to breathe without supplemental oxygen. It is important to note that the oxygen masks are not intended to provide a continuous supply of oxygen for the entire flight, but only for the critical period necessary to handle the emergency. Flight attendants are trained to provide instructions and assistance on how to use the masks correctly, and each passenger is encouraged to carefully follow the safety procedures to ensure proper use. Number 7, the food served doesn't always taste the same. The taste of food on airplanes can be quite different from what we experience on the ground, and there is a scientific explanation for this. At a cruising altitude of 10,000 meters, the cabin pressure is equivalent to that found at about 2,500 meters above sea level. This low-pressure environment reduces the sensitivity of taste buds, while the dry cabin air diminishes the sense of smell, which plays a crucial role in taste perception. To compensate for this reduction in taste, food served on board is often more heavily seasoned and spiced than usual. Additionally, many ingredients are selected for their ability to retain flavor and texture under these conditions. However, some airlines collaborate with top chefs to create menus that are adapted to flight conditions, using ingredients that maintain their flavor and are appetizing even at 10,000 meters altitude. Despite these efforts, in-flight meals are still prepared in advance and reheated on board, which can further affect the taste and quality compared to a freshly prepared meal on the ground. Number 6. The pilot sleeps during the flight. On long-haul flights, it is common for pilots to take turns resting during the flight. This is done according to strict safety procedures established by aviation authorities. Typically, there are at least 2 pilots in the cockpit, and on particularly long flights, there may be a third pilot, a relief pilot, or a second officer to ensure that each pilot can rest adequately. When one pilot is resting, the other remains alert and in control of the aircraft, supported by the automatic flight systems that keep the plane on course. Long-haul aircraft are often equipped with separate rest cabins for pilots, located just behind the cockpit or in a special compartment above the passenger cabin. These spaces offer beds or reclining chairs to ensure quality rest. Rest is crucial for maintaining the concentration levels required during critical flight phases, such as takeoff and landing, when pilots need to be fully alert and ready to respond to any unexpected events. Number 5. The cleanest seats on the plane. Onboard cleanliness is an increasingly important topic, especially in recent times. Studies have shown that some areas inside the cabin, such as tray tables, armrests, and seatback pockets, can be among the dirtiest places, often harboring bacteria and other pathogens. Tray tables, in particular, are one of the surfaces most exposed to contamination, as they are used by many passengers for eating, working, storing personal items, and sometimes even changing diapers. Seatback pockets, where passengers often store trash or personal items, are rarely cleaned thoroughly between flights, accumulating dirt and germs. Seats near emergency exits or at the front of the plane tend to be less used and therefore slightly cleaner. However, cleanliness varies from airline to airline and flight to flight, so it is always a good idea to bring disinfecting wipes to clean the surfaces you use during the flight. Number 4. The use of electronic devices. Many passengers wonder why there are so many restrictions on the use of electronic devices during a flight. The answer goes beyond mere regulation. Managing electronic devices is related to both safety and operational efficiency. During takeoff and landing, airlines require that all electronic devices be turned off or set to airplane mode. This is because the use of unregulated devices could potentially interfere with the aircraft's navigation and communication systems. Although the risk is extremely low, regulations are in place to ensure that nothing could compromise the delicate phases of takeoff and landing. Additionally, electronic devices can become problematic in an emergency. In a rapid evacuation, it is crucial that passengers focus solely on safety procedures and exiting the aircraft without distractions. Airlines also request that electronic devices be turned off during safety briefings to ensure that crucial information is heard and understood without interference. So, while it may seem like a restrictive measure, the regulation of electronic device use is an important part of onboard safety and efficiency procedures. Number 3. Handcuffs on board. Handcuffs on an airplane are one of the lesser-known but essential aspects of flight security. Although their use is rare, they can be employed in emergency situations to ensure the safety of the crew and passengers. Handcuffs are used only in extreme circumstances, such as when a passenger poses a significant threat to flight safety, for example, with violent behavior, sabotage attempts, or severe disturbances that could compromise order on board. In such cases, flight attendants, trained to handle problematic situations, may use handcuffs to restrain a passenger until the plane lands and ground security personnel can intervene. Handcuffs are stored in a secure compartment and can only be used by specially trained crew members. Their use is governed by strict protocols to ensure that it is always justified and proportional to the situation. Each use of handcuffs must be documented in detail, with specific explanations regarding the passenger's behavior and the nature of the emergency. Regulations governing the use of handcuffs are established by aviation authorities and airlines to ensure that this measure is used only when absolutely necessary and in respect of passenger rights. In summary, while the use of handcuffs is rare, they are a crucial safety measure for dealing with emergency situations that could threaten flight security, ensuring that air safety is maintained at all levels. Number 2. The secret language of flight attendants. Flight attendants use a secret and coded language that many passengers do not notice but is essential for ensuring effective and discreet communication on board. This language, made up of specific signals and phrases, allows the crew to coordinate quickly and manage situations without alarming passengers or compromising safety. The secret language can include a range of nonverbal and verbal communications. For example, specific gestures like a glance or a hand movement may signal emergency situations or simply indicate that attention is needed for a particular passenger. These signals help flight attendants maintain a high level of vigilance without creating panic or confusion among passengers. Coded verbal communications may include specific phrases with precise meanings only for the crew. For example, a phrase like, "check the cargo," might be used to indicate that there is an issue requiring the crew's immediate attention without going into detail in front of passengers. This code helps keep communication concise and direct, avoiding unnecessary information that could confuse passengers or interfere with flight operations. Number 1. The real reason for delays. Flight delays are often more complex than they may appear. While passengers are generally informed only of the main reasons, such as bad weather or technical problems, the causes of delays can be multiple and interconnected. For example, a delay can stem from a domino effect starting at another airport, where a series of delays has impacted all subsequent flights. Air traffic control plays a significant role in delays. If the airspace above a region is congested, arriving flights may be forced to delay departure or hold in the air until a landing slot becomes available. Technical problems with the aircraft, even minor ones, may require thorough inspection by ground staff to ensure safety, which can cause further delays. Another common cause of delays is the need to wait for connecting passengers. Airlines try to minimize the impact of delays on passengers who might miss their connections, but this can result in delays for other passengers on board. Baggage handling, aircraft refueling, and boarding procedures are other activities that can experience delays, especially under adverse weather conditions. Airlines work hard to minimize delays, but due to the complexity of airport operations and the variables involved, not all delays can be avoided. That said, I hope I've provided you with a clear and in-depth look at some of the lesser-known flight secrets. Stay tuned for more curiosities in upcoming videos. See you soon.